Coach Wayne Phipps, track and field underway. Cougar Indoor is coming up for us, but we've had the WSU Open, and then you had kids all over the place in the first weekend. Tell me a little bit about the performances, these early performances for the WSU track and field athletes.
Yeah, they were fantastic. Not just for early season, but actually, those would be great marks for the end of the year. Dino Dodig opened up with a great mark down in Boise, and then this past weekend, had Brock Eager throwing very well. Greer's been jumping very, very well, and then Thane with a huge high jump this past weekend. So yeah, things have gone very well in these first two meets.
Do you attribute that to just in their DNA and their training and conditioning that this was just the time they were going to achieve these marks? Or is this a predecessor of things to come?
Well, I think it's a little bit of both. At the beginning, you hope that these big performances aren't going to be the peak of the season, but with the way our coaches have been preparing, it's very much an end-of-the-season preparation. So for them to perform this well at the beginning, I think bodes very, very well for the end of the season.
In the field events in particular, it's you against the event. You're in a competition with other people, but it's really, when Thane looks at that high jump bar, it's him and the bar. It's really not anybody else in the competition. So how do you get them mentally prepared to take on the new marks and to challenge them to that?
Well, I think the bar events are always a challenge. The thing is, you always, typically end on a fail, and I think it becomes daunting when all of a sudden the bar is a little bit higher than they've ever seen before. And I think Coach Walker's done a great job being able to present that to the kids and prepare them physically and mentally to achieve heights that they hadn't seen before, both in the vault and high jump. And the way that people have been performing in his events, he's doing a great job with that.
And you're going to bring the track kids along kind of slow but sure, because you certainly don't want them to reach their PRs this early in the season, but kind of perform better when we get to the championships of the indoor.
Exactly. And what's neat about our schedule is that it kind of helps us, it parallels our preparation. And the first University of Washington meet is a very good meet, but this next one's a little bit better. The one after that's a little bit better than that. And then Mountain Pacific, obviously, is our culmination of our regular season. The same can be said for our home meets as well. This opener was very much an opener. And then in 2 weeks' time, we'll be a little bit more prepared, and the competition will be a little bit higher as well.
Each coach has to manage their events when it comes to kind of ebbs and flows. Because the track season's so long, we start in January, we don't finish until mid-June, but there will be a championship for indoors for both the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation and as well as the NCAA. How do you manage that? Let's just talk about your hurdlers. How do you manage getting them prepared to ebb and flow and peak at the right time?
Yeah, I think manage is a great word to use, and that's, I think, very important during the indoor season, is managing your preparation and managing your athletes, because you may have a plan in terms of their preparation and how they're performing, and like you say, there are ebbs and flows to it. And our goal during the indoor season is to perform very well, obviously, but without losing sight of the very end of the season too, because Pac-12 championships outdoor is a huge meet for us, and the outdoor meet, NC outdoor meet, is the culmination of the entire year. So it is very much an art. I think when you get the art and science of coaching, and the art is really seeing some great marks and great performances during the indoor season without sacrificing the outdoor season, and I'd like to say it always works perfectly, and every year I think is a little bit different, but it's neat seeing the competition during this time of year, because you can do a great evaluation, and the indoor season can be, if managed correctly, a great preparation for the outdoor season as well.
This weekend at the UW Invitational, Dempsey notoriously famous for getting some pretty good distance marks. Mm-hmm. We've had some people that have had breakthroughs in their career at Dempsey. Mm-hmm. You have a ton of freshmen on your distance, both men and women, but they're really not new to competition after their cross-country season. Mm-hmm. Do you feel that they'll be better prepared to take on this indoor season?
I really think so. The level with which they competed during the cross-country season really does prepare you for these types types of meets. And even though, a couple didn't even compete on the first weekend, so this is their opening weekend, and this is a very big meet with which to open. But I think they're very prepared, and I'm really excited about Friday night with the 5K, and then we're going after a freshman record in the DMR on the men's side, and so that's something that I'm excited about. And we talked about, after we signed a pretty solid recruiting class in the distance side and the men's. And anytime you got a shot at going after any WSU record, especially a freshman men's distance record at WSU, is a pretty big deal, and the guys are pretty excited about that.
So you don't have to do much to get them to kind of buy into that, do you?
No, yeah, it was a battle. I think we could have fielded 2 teams. There was so much interest in being part of that team and that group that we've put together. Although we could have pretty interchangeable with a number of guys, but the guys that we've got going are ready to roll.
Track, one of those interesting sports where really you compete individually, but definitely the relays, you are a team. And that certainly reflects well for Washington State, because we have good teams put together, especially in all of our relays.
Oh, absolutely, and that it is really neat, especially for the distance guys. They go from cross country being much more of a team oriented, and then you lose sight of that, I think, a little bit, and it's easy, inherently the sport gets separated into all these different events, and then it's neat to bring guys together, especially in a DMR where you can bring sprinter in with a longer distance guy and a middle distance guy. So it's pretty exciting.
Well, we'll be excited to watch for that. Mm-hmm. Friday and Saturday at the UW Invitational at the Dempsey Indoor in Seattle, and then back here next week for another Cougar Indoor.
Absolutely.
Good luck to the Cougs.
Thank you very much, and go Cougs.